had not increased their team despite an increased population and increased risk of outbreaks. So we need to make sure that we're adequately
Rehab.
Well, if it's personal drug use, then we don't want people going into prisons. I think we need to do much better, and actually very few do currently, but there's a lot of banging of drums and so on amongst those who want to look like they're tough on crime, and when we do lock people up for personal use offences, I think we do everybody a disservice.
Yeah, absolutely. The Green Party has, for a very long time, championed treating drug abuse and use as a health issue, not a criminal issue. I've got a bill in the ballot that would legalize medicinal use of cannabis, but actually the Green Party is campaigning on a full drug law reform approach, which would mean that we would legalize and regulate the personal use of cannabis, and that we'd have a panel of health experts advising on the regulation of all other substances. We've got to stop locking people up and putting them in prison when what they really have are addiction issues and sometimes mental health and other learning disability issues.
Absolutely rehab, 100%. So we have a system in New Zealand that we have been trialling. It's called drug and alcohol courts, and they have been hugely successful. And they have also been trialled in the United States and been hugely successful over there. And essentially, it works like this. You know, if you've had any sort of offence that is drug or alcohol related, you go to these courts, and the deal is basically that you have to go through rehab, otherwise you get a prison sentence, right? So if you get through rehab, no prison sentence. And of course, it's far cheaper than putting someone in prison, because putting someone in prison costs $100,000 a year. Putting someone through rehab costs, roughly $5,000 or $6,000, and so you can afford to do that really well. Make sure people are looked after, and hopefully come out of that, off with their drug and alcohol problems resolved, so they're much less likely to reoffend in the future. It's a complete no-brainer, but we are obsessed with locking people up at the moment, and it's nuts.